50 Cent has been working on this documentary for almost 2 years. The footage he has is insane. The people he got speaking about Diddy is ridiculous. And on top of that,
what if the biggest story in hip-hop isn't about who pulled the trigger, but who knew what was coming? And what if the loudest voices today are the ones who once stayed completely silent? Because according to multiple interviews and a controversial new documentary project, the past isn't just resurfacing, it's being re-examined from every angle. For nearly 2 years, 50 Cent has reportedly been working behind the scenes on a documentary digging into the chaos surrounding Diddy, Tupac, and the era that changed music forever. The footage, according to people familiar with the project, is intense. The lineup of voices speaking out, even more surprising. But here's where it gets interesting. Instead of dropping random clips online, 50 chose to sit down with ABC to discuss it publicly. That decision alone raised eyebrows.
Now, there's this documentary that claimed, which we know wasn't true.
Yeah, check this out. We don't talk about things that are nonsense. We don't even entertain nonsense, my brother. So we're not even going to go there, with all due respect. But I appreciate you as a journalist asking. Thank you.
Because listen, 7 years ago, I'd have been like, yo, did you hire somebody? But no, you do it like a journalist.
Yeah. No, I mean, we wouldn't even get into nonsense like that. You know what I'm saying? It's nonsense.
Which we never believed, by the way.
Yeah.
On Instagram, he teased a conversation, hinting that the documentary wasn't just about nostalgia. It was about unanswered questions. And once people actually watched the doc, the conversation shifted fast. Because suddenly, old rumors were being re-examined under a modern lens. And that's where it gets messy. The Tupac angle is the most sensitive part. For decades, speculation has swirled about who was responsible for the 1996 Las Vegas shooting that ultimately led to Tupac's D. 8AH officially. The case has seen renewed developments in recent years, including an arrest announced by Las Vegas authorities. That part is confirmed. But beyond that, much of what circulates remains alleged, debated, and fiercely disputed.
From the former president of Bad Boy, Kirk Burroughs, who alleged during this time, Diddy had him hiring a whole bunch of people and getting cars to drive to Las Vegas. And he is now very curious into why Diddy wanted to do this. And he said, in his opinion, he now believes that Diddy was behind taking...
50 has referenced how the streets have believed certain things for 27 years. Others, including artists like Eminem, have echoed suspicions publicly in the past. But suspicion isn't proof. And no court has established that Diddy was responsible for Tupac's murder. That distinction matters. The documentary reportedly doesn't outright accuse. Instead, it reconstructs a volatile East Coast, West Coast rivalry, the cultural tension, and the series of escalations that turn lyrical beef into something far more dangerous. And here's the part people miss. Sometimes it's not about proving guilt. It's about exposing how chaotic the ecosystem really was. Former Bad Boy President Kirk Burroughs has spoken in interviews about strange movements around the time of the Vegas shooting, saying he later questioned why certain people were sent to Las Vegas with cars. He has stated that, in his opinion, there were deeper forces at play. That is his perspective, not a court finding. Still, when insiders start second-guessing history, people listen. Then there's Moprim Shakur, Tupac's brother, who has publicly said the case deserves full scrutiny. He's questioned why certain names mentioned in recorded statements haven't been addressed more directly by prosecutors. Again, those are his concerns, not confirmed conclusions, but they add pressure, and pressure changes narratives. Interview. The 1994 Quad Studios SH-00 Ting in New York also re-enters the conversation. Tupac believes certain industry figures knew more than they admitted. Diddy has consistently denied any involvement in that incident. Jimmy Henchman has also denied claims tying him to orchestrating it. Years later, Dexter Isaac confessed participating in the attack, claiming he acted on someone's instructions. His statements added another layer, but they remain part of a complicated and disputed web of testimony. And that's the pattern. Every claim meets a denial. Every confession sparks new questions. Every answer opens another door.
Puff took Tupac blueprint and changed Biggs and Bad Boy in image. I get around talked about how fly you was, how many girls you mess with, how many cars you drive, how much money you got, what you willing to do. He took his image. Pac was the first one on the scene wearing Versace shirts. He went and got the same Versace shirts Pac had. Which, all right, some dudes would do that. You would never catch me wearing something else, something that somebody else got. He was knocking down all the women that he thought Pac was knocking down. And what I mean is having sex with. Why would you want to have sex with women you know for sure a dude that was once cool with you was dealing?
Then comes Keith D. In 2008, he gave a proffer statement describing rivalries and alleged conversations about money and retaliation. In recent developments, he was arrested in connection to Tupac's 1996 murder, and that case is moving through the court system. His claims about alleged offers involving large sums of money have circulated widely, but they remain allegations. Diddy has denied involvement in Tupac's case, and has not been charged in that case. Still, the timing of who was where, who had access to what, and who said what behind closed doors continues fueling speculation.
And saying that you want to see how serious the Vegas PD is going to take this case. Because Keith D is people that he name dropped that you want to see if they're going to investigate.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why I'm curious to see how they plan to deal with the case, because he, in his own admissions, mentions other people. You know, are they going to say what happened to these people? Yes, Puffy being one of them. I don't know where that's going to lead, but I do believe there were accomplices. And I don't think all of them have been looked at. So, you know, because over the years, you know, it's a lot of years, you know, amongst the family, we talk, we want to figure it out too. We thinking certain things too. So, you know, we're waiting to see if we can trust this process. I feel like it's bigger because I haven't heard anything about that part of the story from the prosecutor's office. I haven't heard anything about Puffy from the prosecutor's office, even though Keith D implicates him on these videos that they claim they're using to indict him. Even you got a Crip affiliate from somewhere, but you still not going to talk about the guy that he mentions by name on the thing. Yeah, I mean, you know, it's exhausting. You know, or, you know, I'm waiting to see how far they go, because that's what everybody's talking about. That's what everybody's talking about. What about Puffy? You know, so it would be weird that the prosecutor's office wouldn't know and address it. That's why I don't know whether to trust this shit or not.
The documentary also explores jealousy, ambition, and image. Gene Deal and others have spoken about competition over style, influence, and even personal relationships. Some allege that Diddy envied Tupac's charisma and independence. Others say that's exaggerated hindsight. The truth likely lives somewhere in the gray space between ego and business. What's undeniable is the intensity of that era. Hit records were doubling as threats. Interviews sounded like warnings, and loyalty shifted fast. The Mike Tyson fight in Vegas, the separate cars, the aftermath. Every detail has been analyzed frame by frame for nearly 3 decades. But here's where the documentary shifts tone. It doesn't just question Diddy's past. It questions the entire machine. The way rumor becomes myth. The way myth becomes accepted truth. The way repetition can feel like evidence, even when courts never confirm it.
So many conflicting stories, right? You got some people that say that, Tupac was moving in the hospital. He was, talking in the hospital. But you being there, from your point of view, how was Tupac condition?
By the time I got there, remember I was coming from LA. So by the time I got there, he had tubes in his throat, in his nose, in his mouth. So he ain't talk to me, not verbally. He was conscious. He was trying to talk. He did want to talk, but he didn't actually verbalize any words. I always, that's one of my, going to be one of the biggest mysteries in my life, because he was trying to tell me something. He was trying so hard. He was shaking the bed. He was looking at me, with his big old eyes, and I know he was trying to tell me something, but I don't know.
Something else I want to ask you, because I think it would be appropriate before we get off the Vegas thing, last thing, because I know I did an interview with Napoleon, and they all gave me their reasons why Afeni pulled the plug because of his condition. But I mean, it would be more appropriate since you was his brother. Afeni, her decision to pull the plug on him. From your point of view, what made her pull the plug? Respectfully.
Because he had already flatlined a couple of times. And she didn't want him to keep going through that. So I think it was like twice before she, let him go. And that's reasonable. You know what I mean? When I was, when I found out,
Diddy has repeatedly stated he had no involvement in Tupac's murder or the Quad Studios incident. He has called certain allegations nonsense in past interviews. That stance has remained consistent. Meanwhile, prosecutors in Las Vegas have focused their charges on Keefe D. No official charging documents have accused Diddy in Tupac's case, and yet public suspicion lingers. Because hip-hop history isn't just about police files. It's about emotion, loss, betrayal, words that can't be unsaid. Tupac's final days in a hospital, as described by family members, remain heartbreaking. His mother's decision to remove life support came after multiple medical crises. That part is medical reality, not rumor. Still, Moprim has said Tupac appeared to be trying to communicate something in those final moments. What was it? No one knows. That mystery alone keeps the story alive.
At Quad Studios? Well, I don't think I'm not going to say he knew exactly he was going to get robbed, but he knew he was going to get dealt with. Because he was up there with Andre Harrell, and he was with Jimmy Henchman. And even though I think Pac may have owed Jimmy some money, or he was being disrespectful with Jimmy, and Jimmy ain't the type of dude that you was going to be disrespectful for, because he had some real wolves. And Jimmy was about it himself. You know what I mean? So now, in that essence, Puff is up there in the office with him. They know they about to deal with Pac. You know what I'm saying? I don't know the extent that Jimmy told him what they was going to do to Pac, or he's going to get dealt with or whatever like that. But I know Puff.
The documentary reportedly ends without declaring anyone guilty. Instead, it presents accounts side by side, denials, allegations, insider memories, law enforcement timelines. It asks viewers to confront how an era fueled by pride, paranoia, and power spiraled into irreversible tragedy. And maybe that's the real bombshell. Not a smoking gun, not a secret tape, but the realization that an entire industry may have been operating on pressure so intense that collapse felt inevitable. So now the question isn't just who did what. It's why so many people felt something was coming and nobody stopped it. If the truth has really been sitting in plain sight all these years, was it ignored or misunderstood?
I want to go back to this interview that he did with Rolling Stone. He said that Diddy, he was jealous of the relationship between Tupac and Big. And he also went on to say that Diddy, he wanted to be friends with Tupac, but Tupac wasn't interested.
Diddy and Tupac was friends at first, bro. I remember the time me and Diddy rolled up to Pac in I think it's what's the name of that club? The Roxy. There was some kind of concert going on, and they was talking and everything. They had a friendship. I don't know why their friendship fell out. Their friendship was before before Biggie and Pop. So I don't know why they fell out. I know every girl that Tupac had, Puff wanted and got. So did he have jealousy? Yeah, he had a jealousy of Pac. But I think that it was more so that he knew Big was the meal ticket. And that Pac wanted Big to be with him with Thug Life, but he didn't have the money at the time. And when Big got the money from Puff, Pac gave him the blessings to go with him, but he also told Big that he had to watch Puff because Puff was going to rob him blind.
So you believe Kirk Burroughs when he say that, you know, Diddy, he was jealous of the relationship between Tupac and Big?
I don't know if I could say he was jealous with his relationship with Big. He didn't like Pac. It's something that happened between Pac and him